prompt engineering, and I'll try to like, answer a few questions if it's required. So, so first of all, let's just go and like revise what we did, like what we did before, and then we'll go to a situation where why prompt engineering is important and what are the recent use cases that I have been seeing at least, and how is this useful in the current fields and all of that, right? So let me share my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So what did we learn before, right? So I'll just go like a 10-minute brief introduction on prompt engineering again so that anyone who's new to this wouldn't be lost about it. So let's just continue. Okay. So prompt engineering is basically like, if in real world you would have unknowingly done a lot of times what prompt engineering does, right? So like, in situations where you have to explain some product to somebody else, or say like, you need a specific kind of outfit or a dress or something, so that the shopkeeper would get you exactly what you need. Or in situations where you have to explain like a small kid thoroughly, and trying to make them understand what you have to say. And in those cases, and also in cases like where you would have entered information correctly in order wise, so that you will be able to get the output or the products that you need. So all of this, uh, if you think about it for a minute, you can understand that you would have gone through a specific uh, thought process while you're providing these descriptions to the point of contact, right? So that's basically what is like prompt engineering, if you simply explain it, right? So so how, basically, how to keep it in a way, in a technical format, it's basically like you are providing a knowledge base, a prompt, and a context as an input. Then AI, the already existing LLM models that have been trained to have that contextual understanding, will read through the entire input and provide the output accordingly. So why we need prompt engineering is basically because we, as like while the LLM was trained, or when we provide it through RAG architecture or any way, like, when we create our own models also using the current models, we will provide a vast amount of data, so that the model gets trained, right? So it will have enormous amount of information, and for us to for the user to exactly get what they need, you would have to make sure that you use right prompts. Like, for example, if I'm a 10th standard person, and like a 10th standard kid, and I want to know about something related to a very complicated topic like Python coding or something like that, then if someone comes and if the AI is teaching me in a way where it is assuming that I am a 23-year-old person, I wouldn't understand it. So in these cases, in these cases where you need to give the context, make the LLM understand the persona, you will have to use prompt engineering. And it is very important to our current our current like line of businesses, and also like making sure the LLMs work in the way that you need it to work for your specific use case, right? So we have talked about generative AI models being important and why they are important also several times before. And so I'll just skip this because we know that these generative AI models have been taking over in many sectors like healthcare, education, entertainment, finance, business, and customer service, and many other places. So we have seen that, and that is the reason why we are focusing more on you know, getting people familiarized with generative AI, because at this point it does not matter if you're a complete developer, if you know coding or anything. There are several tools out there which are which can be leveraged by both developers and non-developers, or somebody who's starting to be in tech, you know, in these tech fields. And you know, these generative AI models have been helping helping everyone out, you know, to be out there and, you know, pursue jobs in these fields, right? So so we know when the prompt engineering is considered effective is basically when we get the results exactly like how we want it. So the more and more clearer and detailed our prompts are, the better the reasons will the better the results will be, right? The more we provide reasoning to it, the more better results that the LLM will be able to provide us, right? So how do we write better prompts? We have to be clear and specific. We need to provide context to these prompts, to the LLMs. We need to set a tone or a format, like, you know, say list five advantages, or like how you want it to be. And we ask open-ended questions instead of saying like yes or no questions. We make sure that we ask what we need, like what are the main benefits, or asking if what are the advantages and disadvantages of something, so that it'll reason itself and provide us the answers, right? And we iterate and refine. This is the most common and effective method. We use the above methods, we use the above steps and make sure that we iterate them continuously until we get the right results from the LLMs, right? So, like I've mentioned before, and all most of you, I'm hoping most of you would have tried it, to go ahead and open ChatGPT or Google Gemini or Microsoft Copilot and try to use these you know, playgrounds where you can you know, make sure that your prompt engineering techniques have been understood, and make sure that, you know, you are able to achieve the results that you wanted from the LLMs, right? So now I'll like brush through the techniques that we have learned before. So the first one is called zero shot prompting. This is simply like in the way where we are not providing any kind of examples to the model. We are directly giving the context and asking the question of what we need. So what are the key characteristics here is we do not confuse the models with examples or anything. Maybe sometimes if our examples are not completely right, the model will not be able to give us. So we are letting the model choose the answers for us. So what is the key main description here is we have to depend mostly on our context, and we have to give direct description. So so sometimes this should be enough, not explaining. We need not have to explain, like, you know, everything, like give examples and all of that. We have to just make sure that our you know, the descriptions are like exact to the point, and the context have to be also have to be to the point, right? So we have seen a couple of zero shot prompting in all, like, you know, in Copilot Studio or ChatGPT or Gemini, and how it's providing us answers without giving us examples. And in one shot prompting, what we do is we provide one example, and in this way we can, if we have something very specific, we don't want the answers to be controlled by the LLM itself. We provide one example, which in many use cases it'll be enough, and we make sure that, you know, it provides us the exact results. So here also we depend upon context, but we can have a better understanding and better control over the results because we're providing an example. So for example, like we have seen it in similar way, we have seen it here, where I provide like one example, and then when I ask it to translate, it will translate almost similar to whatever the example that we have provided, right? Now, in few short prompting, we provide more examples. These examples represent the exact format that we require, so that the LLM will understand it better. So key characteristics here is we are giving representative examples, and hence we'll have more detailed, like we are giving more detailed guidance to the model. The only thing that we have to be careful here is how we are providing the examples, right? Because in these cases itself, in these cases is why prompting is very important, and better understanding and understanding of our models, like what why are we using the models is very important. Because without that understanding, if we just provide random examples, it will take those examples as the primary way of format to provide results in the in the like in whatever applications that you're creating. So you should sometimes it might give wrong answers because of the examples that we have provided. So we need to make sure that our examples are well written, right? So these are few examples of few short prompting. And then we have reached to a point where we can understand what chain of thought prompting is. It's basically step by step thinking, right? So basically we are providing step by step instructions to the LLMs, so that it provides answers, and it works better for complex answers where you have to have want to have the LLM think multiple steps before providing the answer, which will give us more clarity to the solution. This is important in a lot of ways, like especially when we are solving some mathematical issues, or even anywhere where we need reasoning, right? Like where you need to where you can provide the instructions in a way where you can tell, okay, step 1 you should do this, step 2 you should do this, so that the model will have the reasoning accordingly. Like recently OpenAI has released additional models which are completely based on reasoning, right? So that's why we need chain of thought prompting. Because in chain of thought prompting we can provide instructions step by step, so that it will understand one step after the other, and provide us the results according to how we need it. So these are the examples, like here we are talking about, like if there are three apples and you buy two more, how many do you have in total? Now I'm giving like a chain of thought prompting, where I'm telling first we're using words like first, then, so that it will be able to understand that it is going one after the other. And and then we are providing it like, okay, first we know there are three apples, now then we add two apples, so in total there are five apples. So it is literally providing us in the same way, right? So we have more techniques where we provide roles, like role playing in prompts. For example, like I mentioned before, if we provide a particular persona or a particular role to the model, the answers will customize accordingly, right? So for example, if I'm a 10-year-old kid and I'm asking about prompt engineering, and if you just normally ask what is prompt engineering, you can see the difference of how the results are coming out from the model, right? Iterative prompting is refining the prompts, like we spoke before, as simple as asking questions in different ways so that we can get the exact results, um, and making sure that whichever we are getting results, we log that prompt and we provide it to our application. Yeah. So, any questions at this point I can take? I can stop for like 2 minutes and try to take questions, and then we can move. Like I just went briefly because we have already covered these topics before, so I didn't want it to take much time here. So anyone has any questions or anything that they want to ask, they can go ahead and ask me.
Can you just highlight about LLM? Like, what is exactly LLM and how we are,
Okay.
yeah, how LLM process the request?
Okay. So basically, I think we did have a like, let me just pull up one more, but let me explain it so and pull up at the same time. So basically, how it works is LLMs are basically large language models, right? So
Mhm.
these models, what they do is, like for example, these OpenAI, Gemini, ChatGPT, all of these are LLMs, right? So what these LLMs are doing is basically they have something called as like a generator and a discriminator. Okay. So what they do is we would have trained these LLMs with a lot of data where it will vectorize them and have a contextual understanding using these vector databases. So I won't go completely deep because it will take up a lot of time, but
Mhm.
how what I can tell you is that these LLMs will do is basically, for example, it's like, if you have to put it in a realistic analogy way, it's like how our brains work, right? For example, if I am being taught about, uh, from when I am a kid, I am being taught about how to speak and how to understand sentences in certain languages and all of that, right? So when somebody is asking me a question, I am not being trained by that person immediately there. I've already been trained before. So how
Mhm.
I am storing my knowledge of, having that contextual understanding, and when somebody is asking me a question, I'm generating new answers, right? It's not like somebody put one textbook in my head and whatever is there in that, I'm just reading it out. I'm not doing that. What I'm doing is I'm having that understanding, and when somebody asks me about that, since I'm already trained, I will
Mhm.
give answers in my own sentences, right? It's the similar analogy how our LLMs also work. So what these OpenAI models, Gemini models, all of these, what they do is basically they have been trained by the companies, from like by the Google, by OpenAI, with vast amount of data in the form of vectors, where where they will. So vector database is like a multi-dimensional database which is solely created to train these LLMs. So what happens is, in these databases, they place the wordings in such a way that it will get these LLMs will get an LLM. These LLMs will get a contextual understanding. So when you ask a question, these models will already be trained of how to answer them, right? Like as a human brain, you yourself can make the difference between answering a 2-year-old kid about something, and a 10-year-old kid about something, and a 20-year-old kid about something. It's literally, you can make those changes according to the um
Page.
according to the persona you can see, right? So it's the same way, but we are training them accordingly, like in the way where we are training in a mathematical format, if I have to tell you. So these LLMs, when you use them and you provide your own context from the already existing data that it has, it generates new content, right?
Okay.
So let me just like show you one. So can you see this?
Yeah.
Can you see the screen? Yeah. So here I have shown. So basically, this is how it works. So you give the real data, right? And the generator will keep generating fake data. Okay. So what is the discriminators? So there'll be a huge debate between discriminator and the generator, right? What is discriminators work is identify the content as fake. What is generator's job is making sure that the discriminator does not identify that the content is fake, right? So they go back and forth of this. When discriminator finally won't be able to understand, like won't be able to discriminate between the real data and fake data, that's when we understand that the LLM model has generated the content according to the context, right? So this is the back and forth models that they back and forth that models that they have created, so that they have this like so they have this debate between them, and then the content is created, right? So this is like a simplest way to answer it, but it's way more complicated if you um, talk about how the LLMs have been created. Since as like low if
Hey,
we are
sorry. I got dropped off for a couple of minutes, so sorry. I missed it.
okay. So so this particular can you see this? You can see this slide, right?
Yes, yes, I can.
Yeah. So all the LLMs model, usually most of the LLM models will have something called as discriminator and a generator. Okay. So
No.
what we are doing here is when anyone is creating an LLM, what they're doing here is they're providing real data, okay, and
Hmm.
the generator creates a fake data, okay. So the generator's job is to just create random data from the context that it has been given. Discriminator's job is to find out whether the data is fake or real by checking with the real data, right? It's basically confirming if the data is fake or real. So what is discriminator doing? It's trying to make sure that it is identifying the fake data. What is generator doing? It is making sure that the discriminator won't identify that the data is fake. So when this back and forth uh, like a debate kind of thing happens between two models, when the discriminator comes to a point where it cannot understand the difference between the real data and fake data, is when the LLM has achieved of generating the new data. That's how we get the data, when it generates the new data. These generative AI models create the data in this particular way. So this is a
Oh.
very simple way to tell it, but
Hmm.
in background it's pretty complicated,
Okay.
and like has a lot of technical terms that we don't want to get into. But as end users of creating an LLM, and if we are somebody that we don't understand the technical aspects of it, we can stick to just being like using these data and creating much more low code applications without having to know much of a technical aspect. But it is necessary for us to know how it works, so that any answers in future, any doubts, that we should be able to clear them, right?
Hmm. And what is that GANS?
It's called GANs. It's like basically uh, generative adversarial networks. So this is basically, these are GANs basically. These two together are called as GANs.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other questions?
No, I'm good. Thanks.
Okay. Um, okay, I'll go ahead and continue. If anyone has any questions, I can wait for a minute, or else I can just go ahead. Okay. So I wanted to show why, like I told you, right? So why is prompt engineering important? Why is everyone stressing over prompt engineering, right? So we have learned about techniques, and we right now we are in a situation where we don't understand why is this important, correct? Why is it? Because most of us, right, especially when we are using low code no code platforms, most of us are end users of these LLMs. We are not the ones who are creating the LLMs, right? We are not training anything with a date, any model with a date, with our data or anything like that. That's not the first step. The the LLMs have been already created by OpenAI and Google and Hugging Face and Anthropic. A lot of companies have already created these LLMs, and we are the end users of this LLMs, right? So the only way for us to leverage and get the exact results that we need here is through prompt engineering. The instructions that we provide to these LLMs, the knowledge base is like once we give the knowledge base, how to use those knowledge base, and all of this that we provide, all of this come under prompt engineering. And it's very important for us to understand that due to like this prompt engineering is where you can prevent um, in a lot of a lot of things with ethical issues, and how does the more how does the agent you know converse with your users, and all of that comes with prompt engineering being very important aspect. Like one of the real use cases that I have been looking at, and is that so you can see this playground. You would have seen this multiple times, right? The chat GPT playground. So what our companies doing is basically they're creating their own playgrounds, right? So now what they do is they onboard these LLMs. They'll, since they're in enterprise level, they talk to Google teams and OpenAI teams and llama model teams or anthropic teams, who whatever the LLMs that have been created, they will they will talk to these teams, and they will make sure that they onboard these models within their enterprise, and they create a playground like this within their enterprise, and try to create more try to create their own playground, right? So during this time, how are they training these models, right? So they're basically what they're trying to do is they're fine tuning these models as much as possible, and also in the format that it provides. For example, if I am in a banking sector, right? So the format of the results that should come out of this particular uh, playground will be completely different if I'm in a fashion like a retail industry. Sometimes the slang that we talk, all of those change, right? So all of those all of those tuning you can do through prompt engineering. So why I have gotten all of you to this particular playground is because all of you will be familiar with this playground, and I want to show you a certain gpts that we can create, and how can we provide instructions and all of that. So when you want to create your own gpt, and when you want to talk about knowing prompt engineering in a better way with a lot of use cases outside, this is how you can leverage them, right? So first, I'll show you the very interesting recent model that ChatGPT left, right? The Sora. So what is Sora is basically whatever the prompts that you provide, it provides us a video out of it, right? So like recently I just provided a prompt saying like you're a clothing designer. I need a woman like a woman posing in an outfit in described format, right? Let me just yeah. So in the described format, and I've given this particular format to the I've given particular formats to this to the model, and it provided me the videos of how I need. So basically here I've given a family playing with their dog happy, so it's giving me the videos. So all of this that we have seen outside, like even ChatGPT is OpenAI is also releasing models like this. I feel these models have been improved a lot, and it has much better clarity, and it really depends upon how we give our you know like give our prompts to, right? So in the similar way, you can go ahead and you can give more and more like context, and make sure that you provide better prompts, so that it will give you according to how we need, right? So these videos have been working like this. But if you go to ChatGPT Plus, which is like $20 per month. So I've taken that just to show you how we can leverage these playgrounds. And this is happening in within the companies also. Like, for example, in a few banking sectors, since their data is very secure, right? They don't want outside the data to be public. So for people to make sure that they also leverage these generative AI models, they're creating their own playground, and then providing APIs from that playground to build chatbots and all of that within the organization, right? So how are these playgrounds being leveraged is in the similar format of what I will show you right now. So we know that this is like ChatGPT, and we have already seen it multiple times, and a lot of people would be very familiarized with it. That's the whole point why I'm choosing ChatGPT to teach this, right? So when you click on explore GPTs, you can see big companies like Expedia and Canva, and a lot of companies coming forward and creating their own GPTs like this, right? So what they're doing here is basically they are providing. So if you see this data analyst GPT, it is basically created by someone, or sorry, this is created by ChatGPT itself, where you can just drop in your files and it will visualize your data, right? And there'll be a lot of public some like written created by someone else. See, this Python code is not created by ChatGPT themselves, but someone called Nicholas Barker. And it has 3 million plus conversations. And what he did was, he just gave like code interpreter and data analysis, and he created a Python GPT. So like this, you can create your own GPTs here, and you can even leverage these GPTs and see how you can improve your prompts, right? See, there's somebody who has given someone called website generate, someone have generated a website using ChatGPT. So let's try creating a website here, right? So I let's say I want a website for restaurant. What's rest? Okay. Okay, let's just give the same thing. Right. Okay, it might be taking a little longer. Just worked well before. Okay, let's try mm, Expedia.
So Meghna, here what we see here is different people, they are customizing the chat GPT for specific domain or specific
Yes, yes,
need, right? So
yes.
how is this done?
I'll show you that. Like that's where I'm getting at, because I've created like 3 GPTs myself. So I'll get there, right? Like just give me a second, so that I'm just trying to show you how people are creating this, right? So this is Expedia. So what Expedia has done is it has connected this GPT model to its own website. So when I click on all of these sites, it will go to Expedia, right? So they have made sure that they connect these chatbots. They're using these the models like using APIs and all of that. So what it is doing here is basically, in the instructions you can provide like a website or anything like that, and tell that use this particular website to get the data. If you have been there in previous classes where I have taught you agent builder, right? Over there we have seen that when you add a website and do a search conversation, it has only taken answers from that particular website and provided us the answers, right? Like information from that particular website and provided the answer. They're using the same architecture, they're using prompt engineering, and they're using this RAG architecture and providing these models for us. So I'll show you the exact I'll show you how to do create these kind of GPTs, right? So when you go here, this is one GPT that I've created myself, right? So this one basically is a normal code GPT one, where what did I give here? So here I will. So I just wanted to leverage and make sure that how is the prompt engineering techniques and prompt engineering is useful here. So in the instructions tab that you provide, this is also called prompt engineering, right? It's just not how you give answer questions here, but the instructions and context that you provide here also come under prompt engineering, right? So this is the whole reason why I wanted to use this playground to show it to you, because we are creating our own GPTs here. In the similar way, when you get more interested in this and you use like Azure platforms or Vertex AI platforms, or even when you want to use them in the form of APIs, you can provide instructions in this way, and prompt engineering will help you out to make sure that you get exactly the outputs that you need, right? So here I've given you're a professional coding assistant, so I'm creating a persona, I'm creating a character, so that the GPT would understand that, right? Specializes in debugging, optimizing, and translating the code. You are a sassy you're sassy and you love to leave funny comments in between. Why I have provided this is, even if it's a normal chat GPT, you will see that it will debug the code. But let's see how this one converse with you, how it actually talks to you, because I've given this particular persona to it, like a particular characterization to it, right? So your job is to analyze step by step before providing a solution. So what we're doing here, we are providing chain of thought prompting, and always explain errors and logic before generating the code, right? So you can work in multiple programming languages like Python, JavaScript, or anything. So it basically is setting the context for it, right? And then it has now it's given few short prompting as examples. Like for example, one, you are debugging in Python. User input, if user input looks like this, and what would be the response of it? And here what we are leveraging, uh, chain of thought prompting, and few short prompting, right? So for example, here I've given one example where I am telling, if this is the user input, how do you have to think? First, identify the issue. Step 2, correct the issue, then fix the code, right? Like that, I'm giving multiple examples, so we are leveraging few short prompting and chain of thought prompting here, right? And we are converting convert to JavaScript, identify the specific. So here probably I would have given, yeah, like convert this Python function to JavaScript. So we give the Python function. So now we are giving step 1 saying identify the Python in specific syntax and then convert it into JavaScript and then fix the code. So this is how you're providing steps. So providing steps will make it clear for the models to understand what it is exactly supposed to do. And also we are providing multiple examples so that it understands that yes, this is how I am supposed to work. So this is my job, right? Now,
What
how?
if the language you given is not there? For example, you given only Python, C++, Java, right?
Yeah,
Example, I asked in maybe .NET or maybe Go language. So will
yeah.
it still support or it will give only in Python? Python
So
Java.
for this particular, it might support. The reason why is because it's still Chat GPT, right? It's still not like
Hmm.
completely our playground. But when it comes to our playground, we can strictly uh, set that restriction to only work in Python JavaScript using a certain variables and all of. Like
Yeah.
like if you've been in like the Vertex AI agent builder. Like when we were building agents, we strictly told them to like go to one particular, so we can give instructions that way and strictly ask it to be in only one particular format. We can edit all of that, but
But
here it might give, because since it's still GPT, it might give.
yeah, correct.
Yeah,
So it's a GPT, right? It won't matter like if it's a open source code, it still go ahead and give you the answer. But
correct,
if something should be closed, then we can close it. But coming to anything with open source, it should give the answer because it's
correct.
just a LLM.
Yes, why? Because so the how it works is, even though you're doing this, it'll have its own generative model as fallback. So if you've asked something not related to this, it'll give answers from that model. So it is enabled automatically, right? So that's why it can. But you can strictly restrict it when you're working for your own enterprise to not use that model, right?
But for if it's a code, right, it will give if you restrict in enterprise as well. Like if you're working in a project and you have the report, you give all the report to the Vertex like the vector database. Still, it's gonna
Mhm.
give you the answer, but it won't give you something which it won't give it from your the vector database.
Okay, okay. But like once when I have tried in the enterprise level, once it actually did not give me. So that's why I was able to tell that. But yes, you can. If it, I mean, it depends upon like how the model works, right? So probably a multiple like I have seen in one of the enterprises where it did not actually provide if I asked it in a different programming language. So yeah.
Okay,
Um,
then that should be a good
Basically
thing
it's like,
actually. Yeah.
yeah, basically they have set a variable.
Oh,
So
okay.
so in different things, what you can do is you can set a variable, and you can provide certain like comma limited languages, and you strictly can tell use only this. And if it's not from this variable,
Mhm.
give a like give this answer. So you can give examples like that.
Oh, okay.
So what it does is it double checks with that variable, and it makes sure that if it's not one of the coding languages that it has asked, it will give like a like normal answer, that like a fallback answer that I am not able
Okay,
to.
can we do it here as well? Like in that case, if in the instructions, if we tell don't use any other language other than what I had given, will it do?
This one won't, because this is not our chat, like it's not completely on-prem LLM, right?
Okay.
Because this will have the like the fallback as its own chat. The chat GPT will be in the backend. So this is basically for us to just have like a much like like much like you're just creating a small way in still like in the entire vast topics you're
Okay.
understanding, because here you're not able, you cannot give variables, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
uh, have you like have you
So,
attended
so
the
Meghna, here when you say variable, you're talking about the temperature, is it?
no, no,
When you
no, not
define it.
temperature. So have you been to the Vertex AI Agent Builder class?
No, sorry, I did
Okay.
not.
Okay, I think so basically, okay, I can show you that. Let me open that for you. So when we use our own on-prem LLMs, right? So I'm not sure if it's still working because I did think I turned it off, but let's see. Right? Chat. Okay. So here also we are providing goals and instructions here, right? Can you see this?
Yeah, yes.
So in this instructions, can you see that we are providing like tools and flows and
Mhm.
all of this, playbooks and all of this? And
Mhm.
then we can provide examples of how to restrict it also
Okay.
here. So I can literally make it work like exactly how I need, right? So when you what I will do is like right now it will take, I mean it takes time to learn and provide us the answers, but what we can do is we can create a tool here, right? Like this tool will basically have this code interpreters and all of that. Okay, so if I don't enable this code interpreter and I have my own code interpreter, I have my own data, right?
Mhm.
It will only use that particular data and provide us the answer, right? So in the similar way I can even add a variable like a variables like here like this, and that particular data I can add my own languages and I can only ask it to use those languages and not use any other language.
Okay. So, but what's the use of restricting such things actually? First
Mm,
thing is.
so for example, like that's like a basic thing, right? For example, let's say like we are trying to let's say if you have like an entire application filled with Java, right?
Mhm.
And then you're trying to get a code out of it,
Mhm.
where you have to strictly tell use Java code, because every time we are focusing on users query, correct? So if I am a person, I'll be like, okay, create a code for adding the numbers. It can create code in any language, right?
But in enterprise, you might have different languages using for all the projects, right? So you can't restrict those things.
You create the model for that. So for example, if I'm creating a model for my own application, right? For
Okay.
my team is creating a model for my own application, right? So what I can do is, if my application is created to Java, I can restrict my tool using only Java, right? If somebody else is using it, they can restrict the tool to only uh, Python, like that. How it works, it's again, it will become more complicated if I explain this, but like how it works is, when we create our own LLMs, right, there will
Mhm.
be there will be API calls that you can do, correct? So
We are not okay. One more thing, Meghna, just to stop here. Sorry.
yeah,
So we are not creating any LLMs, right? We are just creating a context.
yeah.
So
No, no,
how
no,
can't you?
not just context. You can even give your rag. You can give your data and create a
Yeah, correct.
rag model upon it.
So will it like, let's suppose I have my Git repository. So can
Hmm.
I source feed all the Git repository to the LLM to some RAG source, and
Yeah,
can it make a good behalf of putting restrictions on it? Can it self define the restrictions using that GitHub repository or GitLab repo?
yeah. Because I'll tell you one thing. So you're telling in a way where um, can I give my own information,
Yeah,
and
correct.
it restricts only to that information and
Yeah,
not,
correct.
and yeah, this is exactly what it does. All
Okay.
these tools and all this travel and all of that, this is
Mhm.
exactly how it works.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Like how you're telling, that's called RAG architecture, where it is not using uh like the data that it has. It only uses the contextual understanding, and it will only use your data to provide answers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So here we can restrict however we want. Like if we create a data set, like a small data set where you have, say if you have like a JSON data, okay,
Mhm.
and you have added only 4 to 5 coding languages over there, okay,
Mhm.
and if you have used that data as one of the architecture, and you have given instructions like use coding languages from this tool only, okay,
Mhm.
and it will read only that particular data where it is seen that okay, I have Java, I have then you can basically create the model however you want, and then
Mhm.
it will provide us the answers. It's like, say, it's basically like how our brain works. For example, if you know Java, Python, and C++, okay,
Mhm.
if somebody has instructed you only to write in Python, you
Mhm.
won't go ahead and write in uh like Java or C++, right? You will write in Python, right?
Yeah,
So
correct.
because they have instructed you, they have given you the context, right?
Mhm.
Now, now if they've just asked you to write a code, it's up to you to choose whichever you want and write the code, right?
Correct.
So that's the basic LLM model that has
So,
been created.
okay, one last question is, let's suppose if I am feeding the whole data to some RAG system, like how about the security? Like if
Hmm.
all the tokens is going out through the LLM,
Hmm.
so is there any possibility that LLM can store some of the data?
It shouldn't store. I'll be honest, it shouldn't store especially when it comes to enterprise level. When you talk to the teams, they will make sure that they provide you like better ethics and responsible AI and all of that. It
Mhm.
shouldn't store.
So
Like
it's all mutual understanding, right? That's it.
it shouldn't, like if the companies will get sued if they use if the data has been used by the LLM to train itself.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it like basically the model should not. It's like basically the models are already being trained. You're providing us the models, and we are just giving the data so that it will just understand what is there. Basically, it's like me reading a book. I shouldn't train by it, right? I'm
Okay.
just gonna tell what is there, but I shouldn't train myself from it. It's like that.
Oh, okay.
So if the data has been given, and if it trains itself, if it has let out and did the data breach, the companies will get sued.
Oh, okay. That should
Yeah,
be good. Yeah. Thank
yeah.
you.
So yeah, so that's why all the banks, especially in the banking sectors, they make sure that they create their own LLM playgrounds where they add a layer of security so that they give like an additional layer and make sure that the data is not being trained
So can
by the
both
LLMs.
back and forth we can also is there anything between we can put something and we can even verify whether it's something is getting getting stolen or getting back from the public repositories?
There should be, because like I have gone, like I have seen some use cases in banking sectors where they have created their own they created their own playground, and for
Mhm.
all the chatbots that they create, they just provide the access through an API. You cannot directly access the LLM.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they have done it. So I don't know much about how they do it, more of technical, because I still want to be the end user of it. So like where I create the chatbots and look into the no code low code platforms. But
Mhm.
yes, they do it. Like how we can leverage them is just by using the API that comes out of that playground. Like for example, OpenAI ChatGPT provides you an API to use it for your own, right? They're
Yeah.
open source models right now, right?
Mhm.
Like
Mhm.
that, they will have like restricted models also.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Got you.
yeah. So that's how you can create all the playgrounds. So
Mm-hmm. Okay.
if you can make sure that if you can get this video, you will be able to understand the RAG architecture better,
Okay.
because in this that we have seen how to create chatbots and all of that, uh,
Mm-hmm.
like using RAG architecture and
Oh,
not using much of coding.
oh, okay. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, no problem. So yeah, so here we have leveraged that code, right? We have leveraged seeing that, you know, like we a few short, like you know, we have used few short prompting, and we have used like a chain of thought prompting and all of that. We have given persona. So we have done, we have used multiple techniques here, right? So let's now like try to update and ask it like a question. First, let me just get like a faulty code, right? This is a basic chatbot. This is not the one that we created. See, this is a basic chatbot, right? See how it's talking to us. It's just giving us what is there and all of that. That's it, right? Now let's just use this in our code GPT. See how it's talking to us? Let's break this disaster down step by step. Here's what's wrong with your code. And then not a comparison instead. So how it's talking to us is basically like, you know, it's basically like telling us in a way where it's making fun of things like this, you know. Let's break this disaster down. And what did you do? Can you like, if let me see if I can ask, can you explain better? Okay, now it's just being normal. These are the problems with this prompts, because we don't know when it will work properly. Okay, let's go try, give another try, right? Mm, so you can see how, like, you know, yeah, see here you can see, like, okay, when we're giving this, it's providing like, okay, let's break this mess down step by step and fix it. So now it's telling that, okay, if you've done this, so you declared it in this way, so it should either return this one or this one. So it's giving us, like, you know, giving us the solution, and then it says run it and celebrate. And then now it currently points out, go ahead and feel like a coding genius. Did it talk like this when we are normally? Let's see, like, the same code, if we give it to a normal GPT, it'll just give us like the, it'll just fix it for us, but it's not going to talk to us like that. See, why has this happened is because in instructions we have provided something, some, like, you know, we've provided saying that, you know, it's just giving us the errors, and it's just telling us where to fix the code, and it's just telling it like this. But if you see the expected, and it's just asking, let me know if you need it. But the way it has talked to us here is completely different, right? So it's just asking, let's just break this mess down step by step. And then so it's making it more like a conversational way where we can feel like the agent is friendly to us, right? So how did this happen is because we have provided that particular you know one second. Yeah, we have provided that particular, like, that particular persona to this particular chat, GPT, right? So like, it explains the errors and logics before generating the code and all of that. I have created like multiple things like this. So let's see the style guru also.
But
Okay,
what model it is using?
it's using this same chat GPT model. You can change that if you want also.
So okay, from go over there and how we can change the model.
Let
So
me,
any other model?
I think there should be a way. Yeah, you can use here capabilities, and you can change whichever we want.
Oh, we can't use any other good model in GPT,
Yeah.
like code 4.0 or any other
No, no,
model?
no. So
No, right?
basically, what happens is, for example, if I'm using the ChatGPT Plus, right? So the
Mm-hmm.
ChatGPT Plus comes with
All the models,
DALI
yeah.
and 4.0, right? So
Yeah.
it uses the same model, but we can use these capabilities. We can even, if you want, we can disable them also,
Oh,
or
okay.
enable, however we want.
Oh,
It uses the same model of the ChatGPT that's there right now, basically this one. So whatever we have enabled here, it will use the same model. Well
actually, it
created.
isn't, in Pro also it's not using. It's using the same model.
Uh,
We can, yeah, we can't, yeah, how we can tell that GPT to use any of these O3 mini high or something? Is there something we can do on these GPTs also?
there should be. Let me check if we can, because I haven't researched more about that. Um, because I usually use this solely for, like, improving my prompt engineering techniques.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but
That's,
like that's how I assumed.
mm-hmm.
Like,
Oh,
it just uses whatever is, like, given there. Like, for example,
mm-hmm.
probably if I change this to 4.5 while creating the GPT, it might change that.
Oh,
How it works is what I'm thinking. But yeah, let's see. I will send the documentation, and like I will research about it and let you know for
okay.
sure. Right?
So,
Yeah. um Also, yeah, so I'll just show you how the style guru also works, like, because I've give like the amount of context that I've given here is more. The Oh yeah, let me see this. Okay, no. Okay, so here I've given more context, right? See, I've given the instructions in a way where I'm giving step by step, and I'm asking it to use these use these instructions, and I've asked it to adhere to content restrictions and figure out a way to provide the outfit. And, like, I've given all of this, and I've strictly told also that it has to give mannequins and all of that, like on the mannequin and all of that. So what it does is, right now, since I've used the chat prompting techniques, and I've given all the instructions, the way it provides us. I've also given the a knowledge base, like, how you have to provide it as an example, so that it'll be able to mm, give us. So I have disabled canvas because I don't want it. I can even disable this, and we can add new actions also. Someone asked about how do they, like, how does it do a certain tasks, right? Probably here you can use the actions also. This I haven't seen before, but I think here you can import all the URLs, and you can navigate to your own application also. In the other time we saw how it went to the website creation, how it's connecting to the website. So I think those will happen with this action format. So see the way it's asking, it's telling oh, I love the way Indo-Western reception look. So all of this has come because I've mentioned its persona to be fashion designer who's bougie and like who loves to compliment uh, the user for their suggestions and all of that. So it's giving it in this way. And it's asking who's wearing it, what is the body type, what is the color preferences, and all of that, right? Now, like, and it's also telling that it's gonna give us like front back views on a mannequin, and you can see the full picture and all of that, right? So let's say I want a pink outfit. I am a female, 12-year-old, and my height is 4'11". See how it's complimenting us. Like, I love this already, and we're going dreamy, elegant, and all of that. If it adheres, it's since I've given it like stick to adhering the rules. Sometimes it might say that it's not adhering to the rules, and sometimes it might give us the outfit depending upon the content rules that task provided. So see how it's given on a mannequin, right? Why it has done all of this? Because I've given prompts and instructions exactly how I need it. So that's why it's providing us the outputs like this, right? But if we just ask like here, I need a pink outfit for a 12-year-old. So it just provides us like an entire different way. It hasn't asked us what the options are, why do we need it. It has not asked any of this. It will not give us any. It will not give us in the mannequin if I'm not wrong. See, it didn't even generate the out images by itself because we haven't given, like, this is a basic chat GPT, right? We haven't given any instructions to generate the image. See, it has given a complete different uh, way of, like, it's just giving like a normal one. But since we have given all the instructions of ask these many questions and all of that, because here we have given guide the users to the detailed process, and after these initial questions suggest a complete outfit visualized strictly on a mannequin, and explore the preferences of outfit design and ensure the display of both front and back views. Sometimes this will get it depends upon how the model is itself being trained, but sometimes they do get a little out of hand, and then we provide fully accessorized and complete looks and all of that. So there are multiple outfits that we can create with this also. Sometimes it does give like a better outfit. So basically, once you go here, it has given me an outfit because I've asked for a bridal lehenga. So when it will give me an outfit like this. And once we can ChatGPT has this thing where you can edit the design however we want and it will give us accordingly. If we ask it normally, it will not give us in a mannequin or anything like that, or front and back views or anything like that, as we have seen it before. So to make sure that our chat like the models that we have work according to how we need, prompt engineering is very important. Like, I will give you some use cases, right? For example, let's say I want to create like like one. So this report assistant, when I created, right, basically, why was this created is one of my friends have come to me and asked me this question of how do we change the way that we see reports of students, right? So usually when we are in schools, or like when our teachers talk about these reports, they focus so much on the negative aspects, and they focus that they're not working fine, and this is not working fine, this is not working fine. They tend to lose, they tend to realize that these are the topics that he's very good at. So it depends literally upon this, upon the teacher. So we thought, like, how to like, this particular report assistant is very basic. We have just not come to that point. But what we are trying to create here is create like a positive aspect, where where the reports that are provided to the chatbot, it looks at all the reports, and it provides us uh, the positives and the weaknesses and all of that, and also ways to improve a particular topic, and also guide the parents to tell that it's fine, like, the kids do have some strengths and some weaknesses, and it's okay. It's just like how we are shaping somebody's way of thinking and way of looking into progress reports. And that we have pitched this to one of our, like, one of our elders, and they really liked the way it was working. So how we can achieve this is completely through prompt engineering. We have to set the persona. We need to make sure that it gives step by step, like, first list advantages, then list like, no so sorry first list all the strengths, and then list weaknesses, and then tell them that it's okay. So we have to provide those instructions, and all the examples, so that it will understand better and provide this GPT, like provide these models for us. So if we are a developer, and if we want to create like a complete website on it also, we can leverage all these agent builders and applications and all of that, and build and showcase to people that it's not that hard to create chatbots, and we can make small changes if we want to, right? So this is the whole uh, reason why prompt engineering is important, because the LLMs that we are creating right now, the LLMs that we are using right now, are not something that we are training, but we are giving it context so that it will provide us answers according to how we need. So it really depends upon us of how we are providing the context, so that we get the right results, right? So yeah, so be mindful when we are using, you need to be mindful when we are using LLMs, and using prompt engineering and code of ethics and all of that makes us a better person, or like a better way to use these models, right? To in the way that we need to, not misuse them in any other way. So that's all for today. Anyone has any kind of questions, anyone wants me to cover anything else, you can let me know.
Meghna, Venkat here. I have a question. So, I
Yeah.
mean, what kind of skills required to become a prompt engineer?
So we are solely focusing on how to build prompts, but as as a prompt engineering, as a prompt engineer, you should be able to understand what are LLMs, and what are these large language models, what are natural language processing means, and how are these models created, and how are these built, and what are these used for, and all of that. So the skill set would be a good understanding of how these LLM models are created, and what are these natural language processing, what is AI, and all of this, and like have a good understanding of that, and come and then use all of these prompt engineering techniques. So prompt engineering is basically not like it seems like a very complicated topic. It's in a simple way, it's basically us talking in right words, and us giving like specific instructions. Like for example, if we're creating, like most of the time we use English, right? It's literally us talking in correct English words. That's all. So what these techniques would help us do is, how do you provide that particular format? But for you to provide it to an LLM, it's better for us to understand what are large language models and natural language processing, and what is AI, what is machine learning, and all of that, so that you will get a better understanding of what these models are doing and why we are providing prompt engineering, or like why we are using prompt engineering or providing prompts to these models. So usually if we want to go to this particular field and give interviews, they don't only specifically ask about prompt engineering, but they also ask about, okay, how are LLMs, are they like, how are LLMs trying to understand when you're giving prompts and all of that. So they will also ask these questions, so it's better for us to understand what is LLM and what is natural language processing and all of
Megan, is there any AI
Thank you.
tool to generate these prompts as well?
that. Yes. I think, I think I forgot. I'm sorry, I forgot to show that. Uh, Thank you for bringing that up. Yes, like so basically in Vertex AI, right? Let me go back. So this is one of the examples, but even Microsoft and Amazon is doing the same things, similar things. But I felt Vertex AI much better to understand. Like I would go to Vertex AI first because I am very familiar, familiar with the UI. That's why. So you can go here and you can, like in Vertex AI, there's something called as prompt gallery, where they have given couple of examples of how to create them, and even you can create your own prompts also. In prompt management, it will also help you write the prompt. So basically, if I say, um, uh, I want you to be a science teacher, which is very vague, right? So it will create like an entire way of whatever techniques that we have used. Okay, wait. Mm, so it's given like the suggested prompt. See how big the prompt is compared to what we have, the line that we have given. So it will help us provide, provide like how to provide instructions and how to provide prompts. So you can leverage this prompt management and prompt gallery to understand more of how to create the prompt. And they have for all, mostly many use cases, like financial analysis, code optimization, chatbot recommendation, all of that. So you can leverage this.
Okay, so we don't need to learn any new prompt skills. We can use these and create some prompts, good prompts, and use them as well.
If you're an initial like if you're initially learning, but I would recommend you to learn the prompt techniques, because uh, when you have to go and work in a company, they would expect you to have your own mind and thought when you're doing the prompt engineering. So it would help, it will really help if you actually understand those skills and work better on them on your own. But these will help you out to get started.
Okay, got it.
Any questions?
Yeah, thank you, Meghna.
Thank you for watching. Please like, share and subscribe to KKR Gen AI Innovations channel.